In real life, the code execution is rarely done from the top to bottom, instruction by instruction. The code will need to be modified in such a way that, depending on certain conditions, one branch or the other is going to be used. If something is true, we'll do that, but if some expression evaluates to false, we'll do something if different. So what's true and false in Python to begin with? If I have my interpreter open, I can say, for instance, let's just assign a value 2 to A and value 4 to B. So I could ask my Python, so is A greater than B? Well, in other words, I'm asking, is 2 greater than 4? Obviously, it's not true, so the system knows it's false. If I ask if A is less than B, that's going to evaluate true. And there are a bunch of other ways of evaluating if something is true or not. Let's just use one more example. For example, I have names list, okay? And Alice. Okay, let's just say we have 3 names in the list names. So names is Alice. Sorry, I'm using English. Is Alice in names, in the list names? That's true. Is John in names? Well, we see there's no John there, so that evaluates to false. So this way we can build basically a true or false evaluations, and that can determine whether code is going to go in one direction, execution of particular code, or if the code is going to go in the other direction and the execution is going to be different. So let's use true and false statements inside the if-else statement that Python uses to determine which branch of code should be run. Let's open my empty file and type in something like this. I'm going to create a variable age and take user's input this time around. So I'm going to say input. There's an input statement in which we can actually type something in. Enter your age. Just like that. And one thing to notice about that is that every time somebody's providing input, whether it is a string or a number, it always evaluates the string. Let's just see that. Print type age. If I run the code right now, Python 3, and so even though I'm going to put some number here, let's say 5, age 5, this evaluates the string. I want to make it an integer, a number, because I'm going to use that number to compare with another number. I cannot compare a number with a string. One way to create that is by doing integer and put in a parenthesis around that. So that's going to be interpreted initially as a string, but then eventually is going to become an integer. Or another way of doing this is to so what this line is going to do is going to change that initial age string into an integer. Now let's create a little code with if statement. So if age is, let's say, lower than 6, if age is less than 6, indentation, print cinema admission is free of charge. So I can have multiple lines of code in this body of if statements, not just one, but for the argument's sake now it's just a one statement. What if it is not less than 6? Then we have else statement with a colon, and again body of that else statement will be print ticket price is, let's say, 10 euros. Let's run the code and see what happens. Let's say my age is 3 cinema admission is free of charge. If my age is greater than 6, ticket price is 10 euros. But that gives us only 2 options. What if I need multiple options, not just 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5? We can modify the code and write it like that. We're going to put this down. There's an elif, which stands for else if. Elif. So if age is, let's say, greater than 6, or 6 up to, say, 16, elif age is now less than 16, print cinema ticket price, maybe ticket price is 7 euros. And I could have multiple elif statements, but now for the argument's sake, so if the age is less than 6, admission is free. If it's more than or between 6 and 15, the price is 17 euro, and else it's going to be 10 euros. Let's run the code and see what happens. So let's check if it's less than 6, let's say 5. What is between 6 and 15? Let's just go 15. So it's less than 16 still. Should be 7 euros. And what if it is 16? Admission is 10 euros. Same with 33.